Okay. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay, get all my stuff here. Am I going? Am I going? Come on. Oh, there I am. Hey. Steve from Merrimack. Check one. Okay. Okay. Just gonna text those guys. Let them know that the baby's waking up. Okay, ready? Okay, and I'll be right there. I just have to make this go. This goes to Tom Shattuck, Al Shattuck, Allison Tom Nelson, no. Al Shattuck. Okay, here we go. Ready? Hey, Trish, how are you? Okay, here we go. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, Siri. Okay, stop. Here we go. And let's get started, shall we? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Little surprised that worked. Surprised it worked that easily. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tom Shattuck's Burn Barrel. How are you? I hope to use the actual burn barrel. It's a little windy, but I've been putting all sorts of good stuff in it. Oh, man. I had a great burn last week. It took a few times, then the thing became a furnace. Got rid of all sorts of crud, and it was great. It is a little windy. The problem with the wind is that I could burn that town down. So that's no bueno. Funny, Alice just sent me this thing. She was in the laundry room. She's doing so now that she's not doing the burn barrel, even though I did beg her again today. She was in the laundry room loading the laundry, the stuff that we're always behind on. One of the reasons she's not doing it is to get caught up. Leaning up against the washing machine and like looking around the internet. And then now I know what she was looking at because she just sent me this. This is from Reddit. This is Am I the A-hole? That thing. She reads that. I don't know why she sent this to me, but the title is, "My husband needs to touch my breasts to fall asleep. I'm exhausted, need a divorce. Am I the a-hole?" Throw it because my main has some personal info. Every single day he goes to bed around 10:30, 11 something and calls me over when I'm not even feeling sleepy, just so that he can touch my breast for his own sleep. From the very beginning of our relationship, he's had this habit. At first, I thought it was cute and kind of enduring sometimes, and I didn't mind. But ever since we've married, it has become suffocating. It gets worse with how, no matter what position I try to sleep in, he always reaches for me. If I turn away, he'll spoon me and still find a way. If I push his hand away or say I'm not in the mood to be touched, he either whines like I'm depriving him. Did Alice write this? Or am I depriving him of something essential, or gets genuinely upset? He claims it helps him relax and fall asleep, but I feel like I'm an emotional support object at this point. So the answer to this lady, is yes, you are the a-hole. When this guy married you, he made purchase of you, and vice versa, and that includes all the good stuff. And I'm sorry, you can wonder, like, why do guys like boobs so much? You can do that till the cows come home. Breasts are awesome, and guys like them, and they continue to be awesome. And it's never going to be not awesome. And if your guy gets no special feeling at all from your breasts by looking at them or holding them, and that's fine, and that's perfectly healthy. He's a homosexual, which is fine, And in that case, maybe you'd want to redefine or tweak the marriage. But no, the breasts are wonderful things. They're great inventions, and I didn't exactly invent this. As man needs water and food, same with that. And be happy that he's interested. And if you have a guy who's willing to caress you and touch you, then use him for that. He'll be into it, obviously. He's going to have an agenda because he's a heterosexual man, right? But calm down. In other Alice news, we have come to an agreement with the Hampton Inn. I played the audio last week. They have apologized profusely. And they have refunded our room stays. So that's $400-something, I think. And sweetened the pot, too, with something else. Mostly they were very apologetic. And, she was thinking, this is not a Tom Shattuck, old-fashioned shakedown. This is Alice Shattuck really feeling like we had started a good rapport with this company, and it had been whatever, members of whatever. And so she wanted to, she felt, so she said, should I ask for something more in the way of an apology, or that they're going to change the way they do things or whatever? And we've come to the conclusion that no, this is good enough. This is good enough. It was a classic F-up on their part. And, last week I was more into just throwing it by a lawyer, because you could definitely find a lawyer who would have made this difficult. But Alice, this was her endeavor, and so that is it. So the Hampton Inn, we're Hampton Inn guys. They have turned our frowns upside down. First time here in a minute. Tom looking a little thinner in the face, not so red. Thank you, Splash. Well done. Yes, it's healthy living. Thank you. By the way, there's supposedly this new, Wegovy kind of drug coming out that's even better, that, takes care. Trish Ice of Hampton Inn is going to reprimand the employees who entered your children's room. I think Alice vocalized that they didn't. I don't think they supplied us an answer as to what is to that specifically, but I think they kind of vocalized that they were going to change things in a way. I don't know. Actually, that's a good point. I could ask. Yeah, I mean, I assumed that since they're comping rooms, that asses have been kicked. I mean, is it really? Trish, do I really want to fix that Hampton Inn, or just have them keep doing this other guest until somebody just, makes life really hard for them? I don't know. I'm not feeling especially. I'm looking for the letter that they sent. Me and Alice send each other. Oh, it's not in Twitter. Sorry, we send each other too much stuff, so I can never see. She does look cute though. My goodness. That's Alice who looks cute. Okay, let me see if I can find this the letter they sent it while she was working Friday. Come on. Oh man, do you guys see that? My daughter's softball game. This freaking blew the game and gave it to the other team. I'm so rip bleep. Oh, here we go. Hello, Alice. This is Teresa with Hilton Executive Customer Relations. I'm reaching out to share an update on your case number regarding your stay at the Hampton Inn and Suites in Worcester. I'm truly sorry for the experience you had and appreciate you giving us the opportunity to address your concerns. To help make things right, this person at the hotel has issued a refund in the amount of $381, whatever. In addition, you'll get some Hilton Honors points. Thank you for the opportunity to make it right. If you have any questions or concerns, I guess we could ask if somebody wants to get show somebody else should get. No, that don't look skinny right there. I don't like that. It's just so creepy that an adult was conversing with your kids in the middle of the night. Yeah, you're right, Trish. Now that you say that, I'm going to screenshot this and send it to Alice. Now I'm wondering if I did go too soft. Let me send this to Alice. Okay. And then I'm going to get on with the show because I got a lot of stuff to get to. Good stuff. Okay, here we go. And that's in Alice's hands now. All right, so I don't know if you've been watching any of these shows or watching the news. The Sunday shows are this. Gas prices are huge and high, and the war is stagnant. And that's fair. Gas prices are high. And we're still at the 2-yard line here and still haven't punched it in. I still think that this has been a success so far in Iran, but I want to see regime change. And like the element that I'm looking for is the people in the streets, and it looks like the people in the streets are dead. So I do think they can be suffocated and squeezed with the blockade, but it's still ongoing, and it's still a short time. I think Trump hates the gas prices being high, and gas prices being high means everything's going to be higher, and that sucks, but, it's for a bigger cause. Maybe it sinks his presidency. Maybe he becomes considered one of the greatest presidents of all time. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. He's a one-termer anyway. This guy's out of here, and he may be just out of here in November. Hold on, I'm getting more income here. In November, but with the gerrymandering thing that's happened now, so we're taking race out of congressional district selection, which the Democrats are all upset about, which is. Hold on. With the gerrymandering thing, what's going to happen is. So that's for this election, I think. This will take place this year, the redistricting. So what that means is all these solidly black districts, which when they tweaked this thing back in the 80s or the 2005, whatever it was, Republicans liked the idea of doing it in race, just the way Democrats did. Democrats said, okay, we can carve out these congressional districts that are going to be all black representation, and that means Democrats falling in line. And Republicans said, okay, we can carve out all of the rest of this that isn't. But the Supreme Court now has found that that this is unconstitutional. So they've struck it down, and so you can't do it by race anymore. And this is this week with George Stephanopoulos, so it was Martha Raddatz in. It's very interesting, and Alex caught on to this first. It's very interesting how this was portrayed by Sarah Isgur, who's a smart lawyer. She's good. And then Donna Brazile, who's goes to it from the civil rights angle. Listen to this.
This will terribly affect, certainly not this election. The question is 2028, 2030. Republicans in these states had actually begged conservative lawyers not to bring these cases for years because it had, as a partisan level, helped Republicans to be able to redistrict on the basis of race and pack Democrats into districts. What this will do is gut black representation in Congress. No question about that. But remember, Congress at any point can fix this. They can make laws about partisan redistricting.
Now remember, it'll block black representation in Congress, meaning the representation in D.C. In other words, there'll be fewer black representatives in D.C. There's no black person in any state who's going to be less represented. It just might be represented by somebody who's not your same skin color.
What the court said they are not allowed to do is to decide voters going in one district versus another based on the color of their skin.
And Don, I want your reaction to this. Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters that states with, quote, unconstitutional maps should look at redistricting before the midterms. What's your reaction to all of that?
Well, first of all, it's a betrayal. It's a betrayal of black citizens who believed after 1965 that they could get a seat at the table, they could have fair representation. It's a betrayal of the Constitution.
Now, why? Why is that a betrayal? Now you're getting representation based on who you want to vote for. You're still going to have people in your district running for Congress. And so you'll be represented by them. What they're saying is, what she's saying is that you're not getting straight up progressive, liberal black people. And skin color is everything.
Believe this notion that you can have partisan gerrymandering, but not racial gerrymandering. I live in a state that is 1/3 black. 1/3 black. I watch my parents, I watch my uncles, and uncles come from war. I was a girl, a little kid who saw them cry because finally they could go to vote and stand in line and cast their ballots, not be afraid to die. So, Martha, it is very...
Not be afraid to die. Like, what does that have to do with this? They can vote now, just like and they can have a representative in Congress, and it could be a black person or it could be a white person. It just depends. You know what it's going to really mean, and they don't want to mention this. What it's really going to mean is that there's going to be more black Republicans elected, and they don't want that. Donna Brazile doesn't want a black Republican elected. She considers a black Republican to be an Uncle Tom and a house blank. You know what that is.
It is immoral. It's unjustified what they did. My family was voting already in Louisiana, and the governor stopped it. He stopped it because he said these maps are unconstitutional. Just a few years ago, he changed the maps because they...
When he stopped the voting in Louisiana, I get the feeling that governor was a Democrat.
It was politics involved. But when it comes to race, somehow or another, 1 out of 3 people in Louisiana who are black don't have representation.
You see that? Don't have representation. Oh, really? If it's now a meritocracy, they don't have representation. Well, then play the game like it's supposed to be played, okay? What they want is she wants automatic black Democratic votes. And they've been very, very successful at making sure that you get thrown off the bus if you're not a Democrat or a progressive and you're black. Remember that Million Man March movie? Get on the bus. One guy said he was a Republican. The next scene is like cut to the front of the bus, and they threw him off the bus.
This goes into effect. So, no, when you make it harder for black people to vote, we're going to show up. And that's how...
Okay, we gonna show up. I get it. That's fine. But why is it harder for black people to vote? I don't get it. Is this about IDs, which everybody has? We gonna show up. Shut up.
Feel. It's not just anger. It's disappointment. It's betrayal. Because, again, I watch my daddy. He comes home with medals. Oh. He comes home fighting for his country, and he could not vote.
Well, you know who else lives in those black districts? Some white people who also, somebody else's daddy, who might have been a white man, who also went off to fight in wars, who never got an elected official who looked like him or had his ideology. Daddy, personalize it. What a cop-out.
You are bringing us back to Jim Crow, and we do not want to go back to Jim Crow.
Chris, you want to jump in on that?
Look,
Okay, so that reminds me of something else here. And you're seeing this. This is with David French. I remember when he started going on this tangent a long time ago. And this was jumped on by Sue O'Connell. Sue O'Connell has a child who is a different race. She's not white. I'm not sure. She might be Asian. She's a lovely young person. And so does David French. David French, come on, Tom, adopted a child years ago. So this is Sue O'Connell. As a parent of a child who is not white, I can tell you that even if you think you are prepared for the racism your child will encounter, you have underestimated. So then there's David French, who's talking to Michael Moynihan, and listen to him talk about his experience. Now, I remember when David French started saying this back in 2016, because David French had been gone after. He was a never-Trumper, and the MAGA people were ripping him apart. He then broke as a human being, because you'll remember the 2016 version of David French was very different than the 2015 version, and they broke him. And then he started talking about this.
Are you a conservative?
Yes. Now, I have changed on a couple of things. I have absolutely changed in my perception of the severity, lingering severity of race problems in this country. I've absolutely changed on that. And a lot of that is due to a very, very distinct and personal experience. We adopted a child from Ethiopia. This might sound super naive, but when we adopted our youngest daughter, I did not have in my mind that she was going to come to my community and have a substantially different experience as a child than my two older kids. But by golly, she had a substantially different experience. There was not a school that she went to where she was not called the N-word repeatedly.
Wow.
There was a point where I picked her up after a high school football game. This was in Nashville at a game at Montgomery Bell Academy, one of the highest end schools in all of Middle Tennessee. This is a very wealthy school. We went to pick her up, and she was shaking. And her friend, who was a Latina, was shaking as well. And it was like, what happened? And she said a truck full of guys was screaming the N-word at us and drove straight for us. And they just swerved away at the very last second.
Holy cow.
All of a sudden, I realized that I'd been in a bubble and that my white, educated, upper middle class bubble in the South had really intentionally screened out racism.
Do you believe him? I don't know if I do. I think that he's switched bubbles. He went into the crazy MAGA broken person bubble. I don't know that I believe him. Maybe it happened. I don't know. But I don't think that there are pickup truck full of Southern good old boys saying N-word and trying to run over Latinos and black kids. I think that if you're dealing with high school boys, any prank is possible because these dudes certainly throw around the N-word. They throw around everything. Everything. But if you have some bunch of white dudes in Linfield saying the N-word in a nice town like that where there's no real race crimes or anything, that's still not racism. That's boys being a-holes. So I just don't... Somebody makes a good point here is that... is that, like, he also claimed that his church essentially threw him out. The left loves to hear this because they're like, oh, you see, now you know what it's like to be a human. But I will say this is my personal story. In the same way that some women lie about sexual assault, and it's true, it happens. It just is true. People lie about these racist things. I remember after Trump, a bunch of people lying to me, trying to get stuff in the Herald, who claimed to me that these things happened in the middle of Boston where somebody said, this is MAGA country now, you F word for gay guy. And like was threatened to punch, none of this happened. Your mind is delusional and broken. They tried this twice. These two people tried to put this stuff on me twice. I'm almost tempted to out the guy because he's an a-hole. But sorry, this has happened. When back to anecdotally, okay. So I was dating in when I was in my 20s. I've told you about this. I was a hotel concierge, and I was dating a woman who was younger than me. She was in college. She was a senior or whatever. She was in college, but she was 19 years old. She interned with us. She had a boyfriend. She went to a very upscale college in Connecticut, and she was a big waspy type. This is supple. I've talked about her before. And she had a lot of money. She was a good liberal. In college, she was in all of the clubs, like the Asian American club, the People of Color club, the Islander club, this club, the gay club. She was in all the clubs just to show like what a nice and thoughtful, woman she was. And she also had a black boyfriend who was a soccer player, good-looking guy. When I met her, she had the boyfriend. And man, she couldn't say enough stories. She would let it know that she was black, and so people look at us differently. And it's usually, by the way, the black women who are very she involved herself so much in how much they were being stared at everywhere they went, which absolutely didn't happen. Like other people dated everybody else in the college, like nobody freaking. It's like total in other, but she loved talking about it. She loved talking about it, and she had no problem, by the way, talking about it, but being extracurricular with me while she had the black guy with there, and then being my girlfriend and no longer his girlfriend anymore. Like, that's okay. She's allowed to literally, as long as she can use him for the glory, then she can just dispose of him when there's utility in doing it, which is what she did. But I don't want to hear it. I'm so sick. And at the same time, and I've told this story before, at the same time, one of her friends was this beautiful woman from, she was from Iran, but they moved after the Shah, all that stuff. And beautiful. And they were all getting drunk one night, and they were talking about how the races of the oppression. And I said to her Iranian friend, I said, you come from a really rich town, and you have like a great house, and your family's loaded, and your dad's a doctor. And I said, like, how are you a victim? And she said, because people treat me like dog, like literal dog. And she didn't even have an accent, and she invented one for this. It's like, nobody treats you like a dog, at all, because everybody thinks you're beautiful and elegant and like the best looking person. Like, oh, just so freaking sick of it. So I just spare me. Kids are mean. Young people are mean. There's no doubt about that. They say all sorts of different things. Now, boys in nicer towns, they throw around the N word and the F word and the R word. They throw around all these words all over the place. That's young people. That's what they do. None of them mean that they think that blacks are racially inferior, unless that's a bit they're doing to try to offend some people. Doesn't matter. Despite the left's best attempts with George Floyd, the American races are really just finer with each other. People don't really have the freaking time to go around and decide to pick and choose based on race. They don't. I know certainly progressives do. Because any progressive who says, oh, I just love being around gay guys. They don't want anything from you. You don't want anything from them. They're just the best. Anybody who closet blanket just loves you will also blanket just hate you, too, when you're no longer useful to them. Okay. Let me see what else I had here. I got a lot of stuff. Oh, that was very Trumpy of me, wasn't it? Let me check the chat. Okay. Democrats still think minorities need the help of good white people. Yeah, it's a savior thing. White saviors. To exist in society because they're unironically racist. The funny thing is, too, is like you talk about these districts that need black representation. They're all the worst neighborhoods in the worst cities in the country, usually. It's like, maybe we should go by merit a little more so that your neighborhood doesn't have 35 shooting victims a weekend. But you're convinced that somehow it's white racism that's doing... It's like, maybe, but that white racist looks a lot more like a 64-year-old woman than me. So yeah, Trish, that's right. If they don't look like me, it shakes my foundation. Yeah, Dr. Cheswick. Yeah, Trish says, so black people who vote for white people are unrepresented? Yes, apparently. Like, who cares? By the way, you show me a new conservative district that's made, and you have a young, impressive black man or woman as a candidate, conservatives are dying, would be thrilled to have blacks represent them in a second. I'm an old neocon. I'll take Condoleezza Rice as president right now. I loved Mia Love was her name, right? Who's dead, and Trump was an a-hole to her, but I thought she was great. I like the lady who lost in Winsome Sears. I thought she was great. Thomas Sowell's too old to be in politics, but frig. Byron Donalds, I'll take Tim Scott. You guys, I don't even know who represents me. Seth freaking Moulton, I think, represents me in Congress right now. I will take anybody, from anywhere in the world, as long as he's not a whack job progressive, and you guys are the same, who wants to butcher kids because of some gender horseshit. Can't wait for Civil War II splash. I hope you're wrong. Although the people were talking about that, saying that this is how you make a civil war. I'm a conservative leaning moderate in Massachusetts. I have absolutely zero people in my state representing me. That's a great point. Yeah, you're right about that. But there should be, because the state is 37% Republican, right? But we're not. Trish says things never happened for 500. A lot of people are saying that. I've always been afraid to say it until just this year. I think you guys empower me to have more of a backbone. They always say it's a truck full of men, of course. And you know what we're supposed to think the men look like, obviously. Yep. Splash says maybe 1963. If you call the young black girl the N-word in every school, every black and white kid who heard that would beat the bleep out of you. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Especially if you were doing something, being really mean to somebody. Oh, yeah, LeBron James said somebody spray painted slurs in his house, and when the cops showed up, it was erased. Yeah, there's so many. Cheswick has another one there. There's so many just fakes out there. Oh, they're almost all fake. The entire George Floyd narrative and everything surrounding it was fake. The only real part was the violence and deaths caused by the riots, and that was considered fake by our betters in the conventional wisdom. Let me see. There we go. Wow. Listen to this cut. This is from Alice sent this to me earlier. This is a podcast with two young people, handsome young people. This is a New York Times podcast. And the Daily Stoic, whatever that is, Ryan Holiday is having a conversation with this young woman.
If you're not going to church, or you're not part of some sort of faith or cultural tradition where somebody else is doing that for you, I think there's something about, I guess I'd probably identify as a more secular parent. But if this sort of modern, sort of progressive, secular demographic isn't, you almost have to overcompensate for the moral instruction, because it's not just, oh yeah, this is what we hear about every week at church or at the synagogue or at the mosque. You have to do more work. You have to go more to the philosophical and the traditional and the sort of, even we're talking Aesop's fables, you have to inculcate these lessons, because where else are they going to hear them? If you're just leaving it to self-interests and incentives, you end up in a pretty fucked up world pretty quickly.
It's more imperative than ever that we have these kinds of conversations. But I think you can get a lot of content, a lot of fodder for it from the books that you're reading with your kids, even the shows. I watched Ted Lasso with my son, and there's just so much in there to talk about the world and about morality and about ethics and, and feelings and stuff. So there are a lot of modern sources, I think, that we can draw from too, to just have the conversations.
Yeah. For watch Ted Lasso together, that's going to do the same thing. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, we watched Ted Lasso together. So it's the same thing. What do you mean? What do you mean? I wanted to grab this other piece of audio here. Oh, this is the other thing happening across the country in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Listen to this. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing with our time.
Briefly, neighborhood watch signs are expressions of exclusion, and they're inconsistent with their values. Ann Arbor is a welcoming community. We don't want to push people away. We want to welcome folks in.
You know, there are people that look like me and those from my community that have been questioned, quite frankly, in their own neighborhood by others, you know, wondering what they're doing there. This is just representative of our values and how we want people to feel in Ann Arbor.
They were not connected to any existing public safety program today. In fact, it's been defunct for decades. And it really harkens back to a time when public safety was...
Once again, the signs say neighborhood watch, and they're getting rid of them. So they spend $18,000 to send somebody out and get rid of the neighborhood watch signs because they're insensitive to lawbreakers who might be doing things. In the same way, they had to get rid of the no soliciting, signs or whatever those ones that used to be gay hangout spots, because they're considered. Maybe if you guys all hadn't needed to bang on this street, we wouldn't have needed those signs. And maybe if you guys weren't carjacking people, pistol whipping people, and stealing from the CVS, maybe we wouldn't need a protected by neighborhood watch. But it's like, take the signs down. Yeah, no, the signs are there because the people in the neighborhood are thugs. And so, I'm sorry, it's not my fault. You're bitching and moaning that your CVS is gone. Yeah, you were stealing from it. So it's gone. Sorry. The signs there, sorry to hurt your feelings with the signs, but the signs are there because a bunch of thugs lived in the neighborhood and were stealing stuff and doing thuggish things. Ugh, amazing. All right, I'm going to get one more thing, and then I want to hit and then, how long are we going here? Can't be very long. Yeah, it is longer than I thought. Okay, I lose track of time when it's just me. But good, I got a lot to get to. But the other thing is, I've got a real story that took place right next door, in a town next door to me. We should talk about at some point all this lithium that's been found. Here's an AI wrap-up of it. It's just, it's like over the top, but at least it tells you a little bit of what's going on.
Beneath the Appalachian Mountains sits a massive lithium supply. 30 years ago, America led the world in lithium production. The U.S. Geological Survey just identified 2.3 million metric tons in Appalachia. That's roughly 328 years of current U.S. imports. Enough to supply 130 million EV batteries, along with grid storage and defense systems. China controls most of the world's lithium refining. Every year we don't mine it is another year Beijing holds that leverage. The supply is here. The decision isn't.
It's an amazing thing. And so this lithium in the Appalachian Mountains is north. It's up here. Obviously, you want to get the lithium. That's what you want to do. Now, American regulations and environmental wackos would rather have the end of the human race. They're very clear about this. Than have this incredible find mined and utilized to make life better for certainly Americans in the world. But we should do whatever we can to get our paws on that. It's amazing. I've even seen in the replies to this, it's like, why are we chasing the last last generation's fix? Why don't we try for something else? No, why don't we just get the lithium? Freaking morons. God. It's like if we don't get it, then the Chinese have it, and they're not playing fair with us, if you haven't noticed. Ugh. Okay, let's do the chat, shall we? Shall we? By the way, just since a few of you have sent some very thoughtful messages regarding my daughter's friend whose father just died suddenly. She actually started going back to school to most classes. Last week, my daughter saw her yesterday, even though it's a Saturday, but they hang around and do all sorts of stuff. And it was interesting. She said that she mostly wanted to keep things normal, as if nothing happened, but every few every hour or so, she would have to stop and talk to my daughter and say, I can't believe my dad this, and I can't believe it, I'm just getting overflowed. Like, she would confide in her, but she made it known that she wants to have the normal friendship, but she wants to be able to take an off ramp and confide. And I thought that's lovely, if that's working for her. So, because once again, how do you what are the words? So, thanks for those kind notes. By the way, I took those notes that you guys, some of you sent them to me in text and sent those to Alice. She distilled them down and delivered them to Sally, who mentioned that had happened. So those were taken to heart. All right.
Hey guys, Andy in Cambridge,
Andy.
5 minutes east of the Phoenix Landing, and Tom hasn't really pissed me off for a while now.
Thank you, Andy.
It's Crispus fucking Addicts.
Yeah,
was the black dude that got shot at the Boston Massacre.
Sorry about that.
Did a report on him for in grade school for before there was Black History Month. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, Andy, I did eventually get the name. I just had forgotten. I forgot. It's been a while since I've been really steeped in it, but I did have it all at one point. By the way, 5 minutes east of the Phoenix Landing. 5 minutes east of the Phoenix Landing, to me, has you being in Cambridgeport somewhere, heading towards Kendall Square, or maybe even heading towards the BU Bridge, maybe? So if you're heading you're heading to Kendall, or is that Cambridgeport? Remember the old Cambridgeport saloon? It was another great saloon. I think that used to be a gay bar before, but that was the sister saloon to the Hub Pub and Father's 2 and all those ones. Damn, there were some great bars there. Oh, loved them. Let's see.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey,
all famous athletes, when they become great, always look back to their parents and say, thank God mom got the cheap MLB package because I was able to watch baseball and get into it. I mean, this family is out of control. Play with your kids. Teach them how to swing a bat. Teach them how to catch a ball. Don't make them watch the NFL and think they're going to get better with that. Someone needs to come in and do an intervention in this entire family. 32 seconds.
It's not as easy to play with your kids as you would think. It just is not. By the way, the child I'd be playing with today was himself for 3 hours out at play rehearsals. We get a lot of moving parts in this thing, Billy. I assure you. I still take final. I'll give Alice final blame, but we have a lot of moving parts.
Hey, Tom from Thomaston.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, replaying Thursday night show, and you played the clip of some guy saying, people should get second chance. It's always funny. Liberals say their people can get a second chance, but they never give grace or a second chance to a Republican.
No, gotta go.
And certainly not ever give Trump a second chance.
No.
I mean, it's laughable how hypocritical these people are.
Well, yeah. And by the way, they gave Harvey Weinstein all sorts of chances. It's just a hit to critical mass at one point. It became in vogue, and then suddenly he had to go. But they were fine with him for a long time. They loved him. They said it.
Hey, this is Amy from Acton, living in Switzerland.
Hey, Amy.
I've been resisting the temptation to say that I'm not a fan of Billy from Manchester.
Yes.
But today he saved himself. I thought it was actually kind of funny.
Wow.
But I mean, let's just be honest. We all know that Steve from Merrimack is the all-time king, and I laugh a lot when he leaves messages. And I know you don't want to hear it, but it's more interesting when Alice is around.
Hey!
I love her and I miss her. Bye.
Believe me, Amy, I do too. I understand. It is. It's more interesting for me too. But I don't want to say that because you guys make it good no matter what. But yes, obviously, yes. Believe me, I thought I had her for a second today because I've been saying very sweet things to her, like buttering her up, and I thought, okay, get a few more here, and she's mine. And didn't. And then I tried to reverse guilt her and say that she owed me because of whatever, and that didn't work either. So I'm trying. This is not for lack of trying.
Hey, Thomas.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, people are going to complain about Alice being gone because people just like to complain. But in 2 or 3 months of you on your own, and then she comes in, say on a Sunday or a week, one day a week, people will start complaining that she's there.
Yeah, they did that the first time.
So it's different. So people are just annoyed because it's different.
Yes.
No offense to Alice, but you make the show. It's better that you're there.
Good man, Tom.
Instead of her by herself.
Thank you.
Even though I love her. And I like when she used to talk theology and religion. I wouldn't mind if she did a Sunday show on religion. Anyway.
Tom,
if she comes back, it's great. If not, it's fine. People got to relax.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. But, you're onto something, too, because maybe that's what it is. I just give it time, and then she eventually starts getting FOMO. Then she slowly wants to claw her way back in. Maybe that's how this happens.
Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
Isn't a concierge party a gay party anyways?
It is certainly a diverse party. You'll find some gay men at a concierge party. Absolutely. Probably half the men there would be, maybe even more, actually. Yeah. Yeah. But there's also straight women, because straight women are concierges as well.
Andy and Cabers, 5 minutes each of the Phoenix Landing. Tom, you did it again. The guy who did the Raven? Is that not Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah.
And when did he live in Boston? Cheers.
Yeah, Poe did live in Boston. You want me to look this up? Poe lived in Boston. Edgar Allan Poe. It's absolutely true. Edgar Allan Poe. Ready? Poe. Boston. He was born in Boston on January 18th, 1809 at 62 Carver Street. Now a parking lot there near Edgar Allan Poe Square. That doesn't really help because nobody's heard of that. Despite his birth there, Poe had a tumultuous, often antagonistic relationship with the city, mocking its literary scene as Frog Pondians. Key connections include publishing his first book in Boston and the 2014 statue on Boylston Street. Okay, so it's 62 Carver Street is now 62 Charles Street South. That's why down there is where, just past the theater district kind of is where he was. Who knew? At age 18, Poe enlisted in the U.S. Army and was stationed at Fort Independence in Boston Harbor. Who knew? In 1845, he appeared at the Boston Lyceum, where his family recited his poems. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know much about him other than that. He was a little crazy, right?
I had to pull over.
Hey, Jennifer.
Whilst I am driving up to New Hampshire to my boyfriend's house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is Jennifer.
I believe you have subtly doxed Tommy.
From Lawrence, Billy. I just want to let you know I am not 80 years old, honey, and I do not need hearing aids. And yes, you are wrong much of the time about the children in the studio, acceptable, and they're a blessing. And by the way, Billy, is that Manchester, New Hampshire, or maybe Manchester by the Sea? I highly doubt it. But, honey, I am no 80 years old.
There we go. Billy, I don't mess with women from Lawrence, Billy. I think we heard one of the reasons. On your way up, by the way, I'm hearing, Jennifer, that the man in New Hampshire is Tommy from New Hampshire. If you want to dispel those rumors, feel free. It's none of our business, really. I mean, it's nice if there's a nice union between, in the Burn Barrel family. Okay, hold on. That time in which you expand a page so much that you can't read anything. All right, you ready? Listen to this. This is all happening. This is why I garner a large paycheck from this endeavor here right now. This is why. All right, for the Patreon folks, There will be another segment coming right up after this. This is a great story that I want you to hear. It's a real organic thing that's happening one town over for me. Just brings out the worst, like the most bizarre in people. And for everybody else, thanks. Please consider subscribing to Patreon. And if not, I'll just see you tomorrow and for the next 4 days. See you later.
C'est la vie.